So first question that I have for you is that, every time I talk to a coach or any sports, and I ask them, so how do you deal with the chaos? And when a situation is really chaotic, what do you tell your athletes? And they always say that, oh, I need to give them what is a simple win that they can remember, right? So I want to talk to you about that. What is that simple win? Because, you have all been doing this. Life is chaotic. It's changing every week. There's new things happening all the time. But if you don't have that one thing that this is what I'm going for, you get distracted by all the noise around you. So you're dealing with this very complex world and that is changing around you, an industry that is changing a lot. But what is that win that you lost your sight on?
Well, in this case, I would say, for those that don't know Sazerac, we are a private company. We have a lot of brands. So we have 500 brands. And this brand in particular, we acquired last year in January. And it was declining a lot. What you had in there, it had been neglected for about 10 years. And so for us, the win, the metric is usually the same. Ultimately, we're here to grow the brand. We're here to sell cases. We're here to ship product. So what we really focused in on first and foremost was the brand didn't have any sticky assets. This beautiful robot, in marketing language, right? The sticky asset, the thing that you're going to associate with your brand that's always going to be stuck in your brain was missing. So literally the first thing that we had to sit down and decide was, what are we going to make the sticky asset of this brand? It didn't have a campaign, it had a color, it had a logo, but it didn't have much else. And for those that know the spirits industry, vodka is in the highest household penetration. Most households in America have vodka, and it is colorless, odorless, and ultimately it's pretty flavorless. There's not a lot of differentiation in the liquid. So finding that sticky asset, finding her and bringing her back was the first thing that we had to do, and we had to figure out a way to get her in front of consumers so they had a reason to grow the business and grow the brand. So the number one thing that we had to go out and do that quick win was bring her back.
All right, so tell me about that decision. When you're looking at that, did you anticipate all the noise and the conversation that people, how you're going to be sucked into the noise of AI, not AI, we hate robots, and because you're right at the epicenter of this, like it couldn't be bigger. The talk about robots in particular and AI as well couldn't be a bigger topic. Did you see that conversation, that noise, and that hurricane that you're going to put yourself into, or you just, when you realize you were in the middle of it?
At some point, we absolutely knew that we were walking into the eye of the storm. But initially, if I'm completely honest, we didn't have the files for the whole robot, So, we had to figure out how to bring her, but we acquired the brand. So we were going to go back and try to find something from 15 years ago in CGI. She's a robot. If you're going to bring her back and create her world, you're going to have to create it somehow in post, right? So as a production and advertising company, AI was the answer. And we were lucky enough that we stumbled upon and met up with you guys because that was really the only choice that we had to bring her back to life, and we needed her from a sticky asset standpoint. Once we certainly realized that we were going to walk into the eye of the storm a little bit with AI, and we're okay with that because number one, we want to move forward, we want to embrace technology that's available to us, but also in marketing, breaking through is really the name of the game, right? The criticism, the conversation, the haters, that's not the worst thing for a brand. The worst thing for a brand is being irrelevant. And this is a relevant topic, it's a timely conversation, and entering into the arena of AI is a way for us to be relevant for conversations that are happening right now, as well as a tool to bring our beautiful lady back to life.
All right, I'm going to get harder now, kind of more difficult question, or at least more specific. Now, among all those moments, there was one point there, you guys did the first Super Bowl spot ever made with AI. So there has never been one before, there's not going to be another first after you. So you took that spot, it's yours. How was that decision? Tell me, I want to know what was going through your mind and the conversation you're having when you had to make that final call. Okay, we're going there, because it's a lot of money, right? You have to make a commitment, you have to make that choice, and all the conversations that are going to come out of it. Tell me about the final hour, the final day when you're like, okay, we're doing it.
I wish I had a lot of tension and drama to tell you about, but it truly wasn't a huge debate for us. When we decided to buy the Super Bowl ad, we did not have a brand in mind, which some companies do that differently. But it was a stage that we wanted to play in, and Spirits haven't been able to be playing the Super Bowl. 2023 was the first year that we were allowed to play because ABI had an unlock before that. So it was something that we wanted to do as a company. It felt like the time for us to get into that space, and we had already been playing with the robot in the fall with some other ads that we were doing. We made it a jump ball internally, so we let all of our brands pitch to be in the game, and it just felt like the right fit. It felt like the big idea. Whether or not we made it out of AI was not part of the conversation. The conversation was, is this brand right for the Super Bowl? Is this ad, is this story, is the moment right for the brand? And that was a good fit. Like how it was made, in the same way that we wouldn't say like, is this production or this budget or this director right for the game? The how wasn't as important as the what. And strategically, it was a good fit for us. We needed to bring it back to life.
So let's go double click on the how part. What is the difference between what you have seen before in terms of other productions and this one and this part? What changed in your creative experience?
Well, I love that question, and I actually really like the points you were making earlier because we got a lot of haters, as everyone would anticipate. We got a lot of messages, lots of DMs, and you think, like that is the thing that you said is what everyone says, that you're going to take away jobs, and that you're cheating, you're sloppy, blah, blah, it's not creative, blah, blah, blah. We spent more time on this ad, more touches with our creatives, because once you realize that you can have a new idea and change it as you go, you want to change it a lot, right? Like, you want to play with it. You can't say anymore like, oh, the boards are locked, oh, the script is locked, oh, the music is locked. Nothing is locked ever. Ever. Like, we ship to NBC and I'm still getting calls like, hey, can we tweak it? I'm like, no, now it's locked, but like, we can change it for when it runs through the Olympics, but the thing that's airing in the Super Bowl is gone at this point. So I mean, I think what was so empowering about the creative process is that it can keep evolving, and ideas, I don't know, I think ideas always get better with time and with more touches. So we kept playing, and I think we had just as many brains and hands touching this ad as any traditional production ad. It just was all happening in post, because to your point, there aren't phases like we all grew up with.
So let's talk about the discipline a little bit, because we're talking about the possibilities, and we can do so much that it may be distracting. In having worked with you and the team there, it's like you're one of the most disciplined marketers that I've met. So you know what marketing discipline and the craft and the thinking behind it. You know exactly what it is. How do you manage the distraction, the possibilities, and the new toy syndrome, and the long term and the brand that you're building? How do you manage the buzz and the brand side to go in a direction that you feel that is solid? And is that direction clear, or it's kind of somewhere there? How are you looking at that now?
I think it's always a combination of the fundamentals that we believe in as brand builders. I grew up at Proctor in like classic brand building school. So thinking about breakthrough and thinking about how we, create awareness and how we create stickiness in the mind of the consumer, and thinking about conversion and purchase funnel. Like, we think about those fundamentals. We're very clear on our campaign strategy, but we also are very much in this world of like agility and evolving. What you said earlier about the amount of content that we used to create. We used to create one ad and air it for the year. And like, we had windows of change in media every 3 months. I'm like, if you're gonna change it, you only got one shot. But now we have to think about how consumers engage with content, which is so quick, and they're seeing so many things. So we have fundamentals, we have a campaign strategy. We want this brand to be about connection in the human experience. Spirits is a category that ultimately is present when you're connecting with other people, and it's there for a lot of celebrations. And so we have a lot of confidence in the role of our category in their hearts, like in the daily lives of consumers. And so we know what we want this brand to be about and the role that it will play, but we will evolve the content and the creative based on what's happening in the world around us at the pace of life. And we're enabled to do that on this brand specifically because of the tools that we have at our disposal.
So one of the things that I hear a lot from people who have been taking the risk of just going down these slopes and embracing the avalanche coming, and some of days you talk here as well, is that you're building your confidence to know that, yeah, we can handle that. So I want to take a little bit of a tangent here. The ability, and just to talk about the ability to adjust as a human being, as a person, not as a company, but as a person, your ability, because everyone in this room is going to leave here, is going to have to help someone else, a group of people there, like that, they're afraid, they're concerned, and help them navigate this change and the fear that comes with it. And usually that comes from go from one kind of work to something completely different. I heard today that your career actually started doing working with engineers in Orange Juice company, and all of a sudden you're dealing with robots and artificial intelligence and speaking on an event in San Francisco that is trying to define the future of technology. The world couldn't be, in theory, more different. And still, you're here, you're talking with your experience and your all the success and all the good things you have done. What advice you give to people that are dealing with that pressure of not knowing what's ahead on that slope, on the ski slope, that will help the group here manage the anxiety of their peers?
Man, that is a loaded question. It's definitely true that I have changed. I've evolved my career based on exactly what you said. Impulse, right? And I think technology is always going to evolve. It is. Like, people weren't afraid of the Industrial Revolution when that happened, like when cars came, I'm a manufacturing gal by trade and background. When manufacturing came, it absolutely eliminated jobs or moved them forward. I think, I have little kids, like, I don't think we can be stressed about what jobs are our kids going to have in 10 years or 20 years. Like, we just, there's no way we can know. We can't predict that stuff. AI can't predict that for us. But I think that if we stay true to our impulse and what makes us happy and makes us feel like creativity is in all of us, regardless of the field, the thing that makes us feel like human, ultimately that's what we want our brand Svedka to be about. Like, it's a robot reminding humans to be human, like to get out of your phone and actually talk to the people around you. I think that if humans can follow their human impulse, then we will find out what we've been doing for millennia, right?
So I've been doing that for millennia, but let's go to the future now. So what do you see? You're in charge of one of the most important, most influential brands in this space now, because you took the step and went ahead of everyone else. Where do you see this going when you see the brand and the team and yourself like in 1 year? It's a crazy guess. 1 year in AI times is a lot. But what do you think life is going to be like, and the brand is going to be like? What do you imagine that it's going to be, even if it's a little blurry? Where do you imagine yourself?
I mean, I'm super pumped about AI, and not just for this part of production. In my role, we have an internal kind of food agency. We do all touch points of advertising. The possibilities are endless. We serve 500 brands in so many countries. Like, we can do more. We can create more content. So I think that lucky for us, we're going to keep working with you guys and your team to build out a bunch of tools that can help us reach more consumers in more places. So I think Svedka is not going away, the robot is not going away. She may have a bigger entourage in the future, we'll see. She's going to get into some crazy shit that I'm excited to get to debut in the next 3 to 6 months. So she's not going away, and the technology is going to be, I think, a huge enabler for us. Maybe not on every single brand, but maybe so. Who knows? I think it's up to us to figure out how we use it to bring our storytelling and our brands to more people.
Right. So last question here. You said that you have kids, right? How old are your kids?
They are 6 and almost 9.
6 and almost 9. Imagine that in 10 years, 15 years, they're going to be entering the workforce. What do you imagine that it's going to be for them? And what kind of, as a mom, what are you thinking they need to inspire, provide, and frame so they can have the most promising professional life, if or something else? How do you look at, how you're building, because we all grew up with the world that's fairly predictable. Our parents knew kind of how they couldn't imagine the internet, they couldn't imagine a lot of things that we were going through, but they could imagine the societal structure. How are you preparing as a mom and preparing your kids to this world ahead that seems so fluid right now?
I think we can talk about that for a long time, but a couple of things that are really important to me in that space. One, completely off topic, but financial literacy is really important to me. It was something that I was taught a lot as a kid. Like, we don't typically learn how to think about balancing budgets and what you're going to earn and what you're going to pay and avoid debt. And teaching that, I have daughters, so teaching my daughters how to manage money is really important, and it's related to your question, of course, because I wanted to go to musical theater school when I was in high school. And my dad, who grew up pretty hungry, was like, I don't think that's going to be great for you. You're really good at math. Maybe you should be an engineer. And we did a pro forma. We laid out a 5-year plan, and that was really inspiring to me. But at the same time, so like financial literacy, one. But number two, like, you got to expose kids to everything. Expose them to everything, let them try lots of things. And then number three, I think core to humanity in any form is storytelling. I'm a big reader. I often say that I have no right to be running an internal creative agency as an engineer with an MBA, but I love books and I love theater, and storytelling is how humans have communicated since the beginning of time. And whatever that form is, advertising is really just telling the story, right? So is theater. Ultimately, so are sports, somewhat controversial. But I think if we can expose our kids to telling stories and finding a way to like make that personal for them, that's what art is, then I think that they're going to figure out a place that fits in the world, because that won't go away.
Right. Thank you very much. So, Amy, thank you for coming here. Thank you, everyone. That's very